Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome, everyone, to The Next Level, Conversations that Propel Business. I'm your host, Stephen Nooner.
And this is Bob Gibbons.
And we've got a great show for you today, but what is The Next Level? Before we get started, this show is all about growth in the entrepreneurial community. It's great when you can say the word.
Yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, well, we're looking to learn from our guest today that Bob's going to introduce, but we're really here to share and learn and grow from each other's experience.
We are, and I will, as I always do. Well, our guest today is Jarrod Fresquez with ParkHub. ParkHub is a parking management fully integrated system. We'll learn a lot more about that in a few minutes. They're based down in Deep Ellum Exposition Park in Dallas. I have a lot of history down there. And you can find out more about ParkHub at parkhub.com. And Jarrod is the Chief Marketing Officer and one of the founding partners. Welcome, Jarrod.
Welcome, Jarrod.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. We like to start off every show with someone else's wisdom, and we a lot of times ask the guests. And today we're going to use some of Jarrod's, one of his favorite quotes, which is, tough times never last, tough people always do. And that's by Robert from Shark Tank, right?
Absolutely.
Robert who from Shark Tank?
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Go for it.
Robert Herjavec.
Herjavec,
Yeah,
yes.
he's a lot of fun, great guy.
Fresquez, Herjavec, I mean, all these names. Not the easiest day for Stephen.
So why is that meaningful to you?
You know, it's not just meaningful to me, it's meaningful to anybody who's ever started a project or a business, because nothing is ever easy. Anything that comes easy, honestly, isn't worth keeping. So no matter what obstacles are put in front of you, no matter what hurdles you have to get over, always stay motivated and stay positive to reach that end goal, because just like running any race, there's always a finish line. There's always something to keep running towards, keep running for. And so that's why tough times never last, but tough people always do.
Yeah, and if it's not tough, if it comes too easy, then you really don't have a lot of value to it. You don't assign a lot of value to it. So,
well, and I just also think it's interesting in today's tech-crazed world that where things tend to, I mean, we're disrupting.
Immediate.
Now I'm going to be disrupting. I mean, it's like to be able to have staying power, I mean, you got to be tough and focused.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I really, really like that. So, thanks for sharing that with us. One of the things that we like to do is, before we kind of really get into meat, is just little interesting things about our guests. And so one of the things I was really impressed and found interesting is that you have led kind of a double life for a while.
I have.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my father, he's my mentor. He trained me in the ways of business and the ways of the Jedi, you could say, starting when I was 16, and I would not have been able to accomplish a vast majority of what I've done without his help and guidance. Awesome. But that being said, I was still 16 and then moving into my 20s and everything else, and finance and business development is my background. That's my professional training. That's my educational training is in finance, and I was really good at what I did, but it wasn't fulfilling in the fact that I wasn't being able to express myself creatively. Wasn't able to have as much fun as I thought my contemporary counterparts were having. So part of the way that I helped put myself through college was I started DJing and started out doing house parties and then doing frat parties and then started doing raves and doing clubs. And over the course of 2.5 years, I ended up, touring regionally through Texas in 5 different cities and being put on the radio. And I was a radio personality. And Wow. This was at 20 or 21.
So you were like hosting a radio show, spinning records?
Spinning records, sure was.
Wow.
Yeah, old school actual vinyl. So that was also interesting. But then I decided to put away my 2 turntables and a microphone and thought picking up a pair of drumsticks would be a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
So I started a band with a couple friends of mine, and we ended up touring for about 4 years. And when I say touring, I mean we went from Las Vegas to Kentucky, Arkansas, and New Mexico. Put out 3 albums.
Wow.
And just
what was the name of the group?
Southern Drive.
Southern Drive.
Southern
Ooh,
Drive,
kind of
Texas
music?
country, Southern rock.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
And that was right at the big Red Dirt movement with Cross Canadian Ragweed, Stony LaRue, Wade Bone.
So what was your favorite venues in the Dallas area to play?
Oh my goodness, I absolutely would have to be the House of Blues and also the Granada Theater.
Oh.
But we definitely cut our teeth at Adair's down in Deep Ellum and City Tavern in downtown. So those
How fun.
Those guys are some of our biggest supporters.
I always wanted to play the drums. My parents would not allow that kind of racket in the house.
Well, I ended up shifting. I was a
parents.
mandolin, fiddle, and trumpet player. With Southern Drive in the end.
So thus this explains the man bun.
Actually, so to explain that though, you said 2 lives. This entire time I was working during the day as a financial advisor, and then at night I would go do something else. So actually, when people ask me how long I work at ParkHub, how long I've been there, I say I've worked there this long, and I pull down my hair because I've been the suit and tie and the short cropped hair, and I didn't have facial hair, and I was that buttoned up banker.
Sure.
But despite what I was doing in the evenings. But now working in the tech sector, working with startups, a little bit more latitude as far as...
Yeah.
So listeners, you're going to need to go to nextlevelshow.com and watch the video so you can see him rocking the man bun.
All right.
All right, so let's move on into some of the meat. So ParkHub. So tell us, make it tangible for our listeners. What is ParkHub? What is its value proposition?
Well, ParkHub is something that the general consumer probably never knows they come across. The best analogy I like to use is that whether you drive a BMW or Mercedes, a luxury sedan, you know that your car stops and it stops really well, but you don't know who manufactures your brakes.
Right.
Okay. Well, we're your awesome brake or your shock absorber. ParkHub is it's a closed loop parking ecosystem for your management and inventory and revenue control. What we do is we make the process of paying much easier for the end consumer. If a venue uses our software and our hardware, you can pull up, you can prepay for your parking using Ticketmaster, ParkWiz, or any other prepaid reservation site. So you pull up with a barcode on your phone and we can scan it. Or you pull up to the venue, you can pay with a credit card, or you can pay with cash. And our mobile point of sale system tracks all of that inventory and all of that revenue and reports it back to a cloud-based dashboard so that the parking manager can see everything that's being sold when it's being sold and how many parking spaces they have left so they can optimize their operation and make it more efficient and move you into the parking lot faster and more smoothly. For example, at American Airlines Center, they were our first Tier 1 event center that we contracted as a client. We have decreased the amount of time it takes people to get into the parking lot 7 times over.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So you've
Yeah.
taken the brain damage out of the parking industry and brought it in the 21st century.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Now we've dragged it kicking and screaming into the 21st century.
as most long-term old industries go.
Yeah, I mean,
know from our business.
they were one of the last businesses to start accepting credit cards. Everybody thought, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. There's a credit card pay station in the parking lot. You didn't have to shove your dollar bills into these little metal boxes with,
Oh, yeah. I remember
with
that.
the pins anymore. So even that was just a big deal to the consumers, and so we're just taking that to the next level.
And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, it sounds like the idea really came from pain. Pain that was being felt within the organization. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, so this is something, once again, I talk about the general consumer probably isn't aware of. But if you think about it, for decades, if you're going to go park somewhere, you put cash into somebody's hands and they hand you a ticket. And then that's the end of your experience. You go and you find a parking spot.
Right.
Well, the experience for the parking manager, the operator, is significantly different. You're dealing with individuals who are standing on their feet all day, maybe might not have all of the business opportunities that other people have.
Sure.
But, they still have an entrepreneurial spirit. I use that with quotation marks. Yeah. And so a lot of that cash that passes through the attendant's hands, it gets lost. Sometimes it falls into a hole or it falls into their pocket or somewhere else. But an unwritten percentage in the parking world is that 30% of their revenue, 30% of their revenue gets lost to that entrepreneurial spirit. Oh. So with our systems coming in and providing a lot of digital oversight into what these cashiers are doing and when they're doing it, it's eliminating a lot of what we call slippage. Mm-hmm. So in addition to deterring theft, we're also increasing the efficiency of their operations. So with increased efficiency becomes less need for labor, which lowers your expense for what your payroll would be. And third is that with all the real-time reporting that we have in our system, and the operators are able to see every single parking spot that they have available, which means they can sell all the way down to zero without having to worry about overselling or underselling. So with those three factors in place, we're seeing at a minimum, we've seen 17% lift in revenue, all the way up to encroaching on that 30% mark.
So there's a huge value proposition to the people that own the parking lots that then you help make sure get filled. And I guess even if somebody doesn't show up, I mean, they've prepaid. It's not like you're going to give them a refund.
Exactly.
I mean, that's huge. So I used to be early in my career in commercial real estate. I managed a bunch of property which had a lot of parking lots on it, vacant, surface lots. And what you don't know is that George Baker, your CEO, who I do not know, never met him, but his father, I assume Fred is his father,
Correct,
Parking
yes.
Company America, was one of the vendors that managed those lots. And that was certainly one of the things that we heard a lot, because usually what happened is the owner of the lot got revenue, and then the manager of the parking lot got a split, some sort of percentage share. And so we were always talking about, hey, where's the money coming from, and why is it up or down? And certainly theft was always one of the big items on the list to discuss.
Now, and also I want to say this. One of the things that I firmly believe in is that nobody in our organization is above any job. Whenever I first started, I'd never worked in a parking lot. I didn't know how that business worked, so what I wanted to do is actually go and work as a parking lot attendant, and I did several times out at American Airlines Center. In fact, some of my very wealthy clients and friends, they'd pull into the parking lot and they'd start to pay, and they go, "Wait, Jarrod,
Hard times, buddy?
what's going on?" So
You're managing my portfolio of $5 million. What's up?
So that being said, I have gotten to work side by side, arm in arm, with a lot of great cashiers, parking attendants, and parking managers out there. So there really are a lot of really good people in the industry who are smart, funny, intelligent. Either it's second or third jobs for them, or just for fun. So even though we're talking about theft and counterproductive business practices, there's still a lot of really good people in the space.
And it's just people. It doesn't matter what the industry.
Exactly.
It's people.
Yeah.
You have good people and bad people and everything else. So tons of excitement around your business. I mean, you guys have got lots of recognition for what you guys are doing. Why would great people want to work for you guys?
Well, I actually want to kind of amend that statement a little bit. I never want people to come work for me. I've also never worked for anybody else.
Right.
I work with people,
Yeah.
and that's the environment that I always want to foster. It's kind of like a football team. Yes, you will have a quarterback, you may have a team captain, but everybody is still on that line together. And when the ball snaps, everybody wants to drive to that touchdown, and when there's a win, everybody shares in that success. So that's why I think great people will want to come work with us, because they get to own their successes. They get to build their experience and have great memories coming working with us at ParkHub. So I think the culture is exceptionally important in any business organization, and that will attract the right people and have the right people in the right seats.
I agree. Culture is key. I love that. Thanks for that. Well, we're going to go to a break. Before we do, your company is a rocket ship with amazing growth and tremendous momentum. Everyone's dream, right? Is there a price to pay? And if so, what is it? Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors, and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate one, maybe two leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Stephen Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
My name's Todd Sternfeld with Superior Concrete Products. We build fences, we build walls. Bob and Steven, please, will you do whatever you can to get Donald Trump in here so we can talk to him about how we can help him build the wall?
Welcome back to The Next Level, conversations that propel business. We're here with our host. Listen to me. I'm the host.
Hey, it's all right.
I'm the host. He might be better than both of us.
He probably is.
I tend to control a room. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so we're here with our guest, Jarrod Fresquez with ParkHub. If you'd like to learn more about ParkHub, he's at parkhub.com. So one of the things I wanted to jump on again is you talked about how American Airlines was your first big Tier 1 client. So where is that now? Where else have you gone? Are you national, et cetera?
Well, we actually celebrated 1 year from our launch at American Airlines Center on January 5th of this year.
Wow.
So just last week, just think, our first deployment within the event center area was a year ago. Then we spent the next 6 months or so really, truly perfecting that model and perfecting the product with, the Cowboys and the Mavs. We want to make sure that, an entity that is, owned by Mark Cuban, at least partially, and is ranked as one of the number one venues, actually is the number one venue in the United States, ranked by Venues Today. We want to make sure they were very happy.
Sure.
Nail it in our backyard and then scale it. So starting, and I'd say about June of this year is whenever we really started pushing the rest of our sales team, which, well, I say sales team. It's a very small sales team, very few people, but it's a very targeted process that we did. And since then, we're now coast to coast. I can say that officially. We have the Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, which is ranked 3rd in the world and 10th in the country. Moving out west, of course, we have the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T Stadium, as well as American Airlines Center. Going up north a little bit, Indianapolis Colts, Lucas Oil Field. We also have Ford Field for the Detroit Lions. We're operating with parking management companies that surround them, both of those entities as well. And one of our biggest announcements has been the San Francisco 49ers, Levi's Stadium.
Oh, wow.
And they're known and touted as being one of the most technologically advanced stadiums in the United States, if not the world. So it's we're definitely in good company. And, I hate to talk about contracts that haven't been closed yet,
Sure.
but let's just say with my travel schedule and also our sales team travel schedule, 2016 is going to be exponentially larger than our 2015 was, if that says anything. But currently we have 9 different franchises that we're working with and an additional 4 parking management and operating companies.
Very cool. So what about international? Is that up on the horizon?
Well, it's something that we are looking into. It's part of our roadmap as far as development goes. We do have the technology and are developing further technology that will definitely disrupt what's going on overseas. But it's something we're really wanting to focus on doing what we're doing right now and doing it better than anybody else. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Right. We really want to establish ourselves as the cornerstone in the industry as well as the standard.
So how do you keep up with that? So, obviously tech helps make things scalable, but, are you guys still where you're hiring just people that you guys know, or is there recruitment efforts, or what do you?
Well, George took a lot of care in bringing in the right team for his C-suite to begin with. Jake Edsel, he's our COO. He has a lot of experience in the startup sector, and so he has a lot of known resources that he's pulling off of. Dave Livingston, who is our CTO, Dr. Livingston, I presume. He also knows, and he has a vast library of developers and other talent as well to bring in. Tony Albanese, he is our CRO and president. His experience in building sales teams is phenomenal.
What does CRO mean?
Chief Revenue Officer.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has vast experience in building out sales teams, and he's doing a really good job in fleshing out that department as well.
I got to say, it must feel really good to go into a place like San Francisco, which is known to be the hotbed of technology, and as a technology company from Dallas, go in there and showing them how to do it.
Exactly.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a good time.
I like that.
So do you guys only handle like special event venues, or what do you help parking companies or owners of lots also deal with their, like daily parking contracts?
Well, there are three facets to the parking world: valet, special event, daily, hourly parking, or permit parking. Right now, we have pretty much tackled the event center parking, and that's large amounts of ingress and egress within a few hours' time. Like I said, we're working on becoming the standard, the gold standard in there. Right now, our technology and services surpass anything else that's out there that I've seen or heard of. We are drifting into the daily and hourly with some of the new software and technology that we're developing in-house that will enable us to bridge the gap between event center and daily and hourly. Because if you think about it, some of these large event centers are located inside urban areas. They share parking with a mall across the street or commercial buildings or wherever else, and so it's a natural fit to go into that area as well. We already have a valet component built in. We just haven't decided to roll that out just yet. Like I said, we're really wanting to make sure our growth is organic, explosive as it may be, like a volcano. Volcanoes are still natural. So we're trying to manage all of that. But yes,
Sure.
so we are going into other sectors and areas of the industry.
So let's talk threats. I mean, you guys are disrupting and have the volcano type growth. There's a lot of things going on, but within the world today, what do you guys see as your biggest threats to your future?
Well, it's interesting. Technology is what created this company, and technology is what drives this company, but it's also developments in other areas of technology that are actually threatening people within the industry as well. It is a reality that there are going to be autonomous and semi-autonomous vehicles. Granted, it's 10 years, 15 years out, and there's a lot that's going to happen between here and there, but it's going to happen. And so big question within the, parking management and parking operations companies is what's going to happen to us? I understand these cars are going to be driving themselves, but are they going to need somewhere to park, and how is that going to work?
Right.
So without giving too much of our trade secrets away, just know that we are building part of the foundation of our roadmap is allowing for that.
Awesome.
And trying to set up a way for us to continue to integrate with some of the larger companies out there that are doing just that.
I got to say, I was very surprised to see that on your list of threats in the information we talked about earlier. But I thought that like Uber and Lyft would be a bigger threat than autonomous cars. But do you not see that affecting demand for parking much?
Not at all. Uber and Lyft, those are both great services. We're actually, portions of our business model are actually synonymous with Lyft and Uber both. But no, that isn't an issue so much. People still like to drive themselves. Uber is great for short little jaunts from, like, if I want to go to a bar up the street or something like that. But for me to go to a sporting event or a concert venue, typically that's more of a destination event. You don't see too many people taking cabs to go to an American Airlines, a Dallas Mavs game.
Right.
They drive themselves, or they take city transportation when it's available, like the Barclays Center in New York, or Brooklyn, I should say. They don't have a whole lot of parking there. People take cabs and city transportation. So I think it determines, the answer to your question is determined by the location of the venue.
Okay.
And it's a social thing too. We go to the Mavs game. We go with a group a lot of times too, and so I get that for sure. And the I don't know if you saw or not, but you talked about autonomous vehicles. I just saw, I don't know if it's real, I haven't snoped it yet, but I saw the new Tesla download basically allows it to pull out of your garage and pull up to your front door or wherever you're at, which is just
wow. I heard it could park itself now, but I didn't hear that part.
It's next level.
Wow.
It's awesome. Can't wait.
Okay, so let's move on to a couple other things. So whenever you're looking at your career, and you've done a lot of stuff, we haven't even really touched on a lot of this stuff, but if somebody were thinking about starting their own company these days, what would be the advice you might give them, top 2 or 3 items you might give somebody?
Well, one of my favorite sayings, and this is also from another Shark Tank great, Mr. Wonderful, is that nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. Always listen to the people that are around you. Always encourage them to speak their mind, speak their voice. Even though you think that you may have the end-all be-all and the best way, there's always a better mousetrap, and somebody will beat you, especially with that mentality. If you don't continue to evolve and grow and change, you'll be left with the dinosaurs. And the best way to continue to evolve and change is to listen to those that are around you, because if you surround yourself with trustworthy, knowledgeable, skilled individuals, they're going to have your best interest, the company's best interest at hand, and they'll be the ones that will help you come up with some of your newest campaigns, your newest technology, your newest ideas.
Yeah, so they got to be all those things plus forward-looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best days have to be ahead of them, not behind them.
Exactly.
With all the growth, success, I mean, you look at the last year, I think a lot of people that be listening to the show would say, boy, I would really love to have that with my company. But there's a price to pay for that, right? I mean,
absolutely.
So tell us about the last year, what that's looked like for you.
Well, I also like to, give the founder George Baker a little bit of credit. He's
just a little.
Just a little. No, he's a husband and he's a father now twice over. His first son, George Jr., we call him 2.0, and then he just has a newborn with his wife Chelsea Cooper, or the son's name is Cooper, wife's name is Chelsea. Occasionally, I have to tell him to go home and be a dad. George's drive for the company and his passion for his product, it's very commendable. And that's something that we all share here in the office, is the passion for the product and the drive to make it great. But nobody knows that, or there's a meme that's floating around that says an entrepreneur is somebody who works 80 hours a week so they don't have to work 40, a 40-hour work week.
Right.
And that's very true. My travel schedule for the month of January is I'm out of town 18 out of 31 days for January, and in February I'm on the road 19 out of 29 days.
Wow.
And granted, I am not a father and I'm not a husband, but I do have a fantastic, wonderful girlfriend who's very supportive of what I do. And same thing with my parents, who I miss all of them and love them very much. So it's sacrificing the time you spend with them to focus on your business, sacrificing now so you don't have to later. But it's not just that emotional toll, it's a physical toll as well. Even though I'm in the C-suite and I'm an executive, it's like I told you, I'm boots on the ground too. Mm-hmm. I want to see what the front line's doing. I'm out, hustling through the parking lots, running out fresh units or helping out the cashiers or everything else. I'm 33 years old. I'm by no means old, but I'm not not in my 20s anymore. And, I've had to soak my knees and my ankles, and it's long hours, long days. It's an emotional and physical toll, but you have to know that it's worth it, and you have to have a really good support group with you.
So what's next for you?
That's a really good question. I'm going to spend the next year or two, or however long it takes, continuing to do what I do, to put my sweat, blood, and tears into this company until it's something great. I have had such an understanding and supportive family and friends and Megan, my girlfriend, that I want to prove to them that their belief and that support was worth it. And I want to continue to succeed and to show George Baker that he was correct in placing his trust and faith in me as his number 2.
Well, Jarrod, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. If y'all would like to learn more about Jarrod and his company, please go to parkhub.com. And if you'd like to know more about the show, you can go to nextlevelshow.com, and you can see this as you can get this recording, you can get it on video, you can see everybody we've interviewed in the past, and you can also connect with us on all the social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Let us know what you think. If you want to talk to us, send us an email.
Sounds great, Bob. Good job.
See you next week.
Have a great day.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.